that opening game. We'll find out all that later on, though, because now we're kicking it off in the pistol round here on Ascent. Zeta versus Crew, with Crew on the defense. And you're seeing Mazzino ready to take contact. A shock dart primed and ready. A little bit of damage done. And Mazzino follows up with the kill, but he's not able to get out of there alive. Still trading from the grave with his nano swarm, thinning out the numbers of Zeta and making it almost impossible. Oh, definitely impossible for these players to follow up and make it through those smokes.
Yeah, good luck, Makiba. It's going to be a little bit of a tough one for him to try and get through this. And Klaus is going to be there to close out. And that might be the biggest celebration I've heard of any team so far. Just getting themselves the pistol round. I think I'm going to like Crew. I think I'm going to like him here.
Oh, yeah, they like to get loud, that's for sure. Obviously, a team that we've seen on the international scene before, and now coming back to make a name for themselves and show the hard work has paid off. Coming from the LATAM region, representing them well with that pistol round on the board. But Tom, I want to ask you, coming into this, which one of these two teams is your favorite to take this map and the series overall?
I'm leaning into Zeta overall, but I think it's going to be a brawl all the way through. Like, I'm hoping this will be our first full best-of-3 series, because we've been, well, yesterday I enjoyed Gambit doing so well, but maybe not the fashion in which it happened.
Well, this is looking like a clean sweep until the kill comes in from Laz. Only one player dropped, though, over on the Crew side. That's perfectly acceptable, especially because they've managed to retrieve that weapon. So nothing really lost for them.
Yeah, for sure. I'm blown away by how loud they are. It's like they're filling the arena on their own.
Anti-eco, boys!
They've just absolutely wrecked them in an anti-eco, and they're like, do you know what? This is the best thing we've ever done. I'm so happy with what we've achieved. So I can't imagine what happens if they actually manage to win themselves the bonus round, because they'll come in with at least an extra Bulldog. As Spectres, they only lost one player, so that will go in onto a pistol to try and get them something in this round. But ultimately, this is where we want to see Zeta actually come onto the board, and they've gone through with the early fault line, trying to do some damage, but so aggressive out of the side of Crew.
Yeah, trying to make use of those weaker weapons and doing a good job of it with that kill traded out to start with. But Zeta do manage to recover that man advantage. Nags getting all the way down there for a kill. The Bulldog, the dash out, and now it's a 3v3.
Yeah, they're making this one competitive, that's for sure. A slowdown from Zeta, just patiently waiting to see if there's any more aggression coming out from the defensive side. Now, they've left a solo defender of Mazzino on the other side, so they don't really have to worry too much about their rotations. Alarm bot into mid as well to catch anybody going in that direction. So his point is to basically just not move. Just wait patiently, see if anybody triggers that alarm bot, and then they can actually make the rotation if necessary. Although saying that, they actually go for a little bit of a gamble already, with Clouds now finding a player outside A. They can go back to just waiting on the sides.
It's the info game, though. With 40 seconds left, you spot a player outside that site kind of tucked away. It doesn't look like he's lurking. It looks like they're about to hit the A site. That's why Crew still have two players in position, ready to take these fights. Batakaje sneaking in towards Heaven, might just have the backstab. Oh, no, he's spraying away. They know he's here now. Running over to try and help his teammates make it through the choke point, but there's still going to be two guys in position, and Nags is delivering on the Bulldog, the ranged ADS, but as he falls, there's 12 seconds left. They need the plant. It's a 1v1, and it goes Crew's way. That will be the bonus in the hands of LATAM.
That's a huge round for them to win as well. A massive investment coming in from the side of Zeta. A map as well that they're competent on at least. So to get off to such a flying start, and again, hear them screaming in the background, like, I think they're just getting themselves more and more pumped up. And one of the things that really worried me when we saw them in Reykjavik, Mitch, was the fact that I feel like Crew had seen a lot of teams play. They'd taken some of those ideas, but when things went wrong, they didn't have any adaptations. They almost didn't have their own identity as a team. By the looks of it, the addition of Kesnet has gone, okay, well, I'm not going to just stick to all those protocols. I'm going to go looking for fights. And it seems like the team already, even though we're only a few rounds in, looks different as a whole.
Yeah, most definitely. Whether it's down through that A-long aggression or whether we're talking about the mid plays on Bulldogs, there were so many important moments of aggression, controlled aggression out of Crew. With the 3-0 on the board, they are now facing into what should be a pretty easy one. Sheriffs in the hands of the Japanese side of Zeta, as they look to take a fight towards B main and hold down on middle and outside A for any sort of a push. But they're not getting a whole bunch offered up to them just yet. Right. Kesnet goes out, takes easy range duels up against these Sheriffs, has support on top mid. I mean, this is perfectly played to a point, but what is that from Laz? A quick double return, and all of a sudden, this round, which was looking surely to be in the hands of Crew easily, comes under threat.
Yeah, he's been a player I've been very excited to see on the international stage, but if they can help steal this round away, it would be huge. However, Crow falling leaves it all onto Laz, and I'll be honest, Mitch, I don't think he's going to win this round. He doesn't have the spike. It's about as far away as humanly possible, and oh, he's unlucky there. Doesn't manage to dodge the turret completely. Might leave it as a little bit of a surprise, and even gets the connection onto Mazzino. Klaus has to be careful here! He just got his fourth kill of the round with the Sheriff, and it comes down to a 1 versus 1, but there's only 15 seconds. Why is he pushing this? Why is he pushing? That's so risky from Delzik. Well, I guess he doesn't know that he didn't have the spike, but that made me very uncomfortable.
Yep, I mean, in Delzik's head, of course, the guy's going towards the site. He's trying to get the planting. You almost get an ace out of Laz to start it off. A player that definitely takes a bit of the conversation away over on the Zeta side, but I wasn't expecting this to come through. Some of these shots, absolutely disgusting. But it's still not going to be the first run on the board. Considering what they came in with, though, I think they're going to be pretty happy.
Yeah, they've made that one incredibly costly, and I think that might be a few warning signs for the side of Crew, just going, you know what, maybe I'll hold off a little bit on getting too excited. Again, though, we're going to see these early pop flashes. So much information available for the side of Crew, and in fact, Laz, he's just going to pop his ult almost instantly. Not a lot of info to go off of, and he's only done a bit of damage.
2 tags, at least now they know exactly where these players are positioned on the site. They know who is here and who they're dealing with, and they've tickled them up nicely. With 1:15 on the clock, there's still plenty of choice there for Zeta, and they are starting to reposition towards the bottom of mid, moving around towards B, but now at Nags finding that kill, do they still decide to move towards this side of the map? They know there's an operator with free reign, but they're hoping that Takage can find them the space by pushing up through middle to allow them to really put the pressure on this Jet.
Yeah, I'm almost certain that he spotted the alarm bot. That's why he's just hesitating, moving any further forward. I don't know if they're going to expect it to be this far forward, though. And actually, having that dash available just means he can get back out of there without any problems at all. Finally, Rita will put him down, but it leaves them in a position still with a man disadvantage.
Yeah, and their positions are known. They know there's one splitting in through middle. Takage is trying to get something done, catch them on the rotates, but there's very few angles given away. Crew are playing a tight game right now. As they peek on out, the trades are there, and they start to go Zeta's way with only a fraction of HP on each remaining player. A 1v2 commences. Delzik has to do it all on the Astra. Stars to play with, but he won't be deploying them just yet. Looking to take some duels. He hasn't checked his backside. This could be a big problem as he creeps onto the site. Rada can take the backstab and close out the first round for the Japanese side of Zeta.
It was definitely a little bit tighter than they would have liked. That duel just goes a little bit earlier, and maybe, just maybe, there's a chance for them to actually throw that one away. And it's a shame as well, because the aggression of Nags in the early stages of the round was fantastic. Able to get 2 opening picks, not really shut down, at least initially, by the side of Zeta. And I think that's going to be a big part of actually both teams' defensive sides. I expect them to be playing aggressively. I expect them to be taking control. And especially when you consider going into that second half for Zeta, well, they don't actually have that Sentinel to lock things down on the other side. So they have to play aggressive.
That they do. Look at Zeta right now. Playing with a rolling thunder, I mean, aggression can come in quite quickly if they wanted to, especially if they spot this player up close on A long. That's going to be Delzik with a Spectre in hand. The rest of the team on pistols. He's just going to be falling back. A very slow approach from Crew, despite the fact that, you know, previously when we saw them with some of those weaker weapons in the bonus, they were all about the aggression. This time, they're swapping it up.
Yeah, still getting information fairly early. We're going to have the aftershock used to just try and clear some of those closer angles. And in fact, they're just going to Rolling Thunder straight into the site. A bit more of an issue for some of the players caught back, but hey, they're just going to go pushing all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, this is the ideal scenario, really, when you're on the pistols. They've already burned an open. What's happening here? Crew are coming in with 4 kills, as clean as you like. A Blade Storm in the hands of Nagsit that does the majority of the work, and Makiba is left alone. An easy double spray down, but he can't get any more. They're right back on the board with 5-1.
Yeah, the economy of Zeta is going to be screwed now. That was a fairly heavy investment of utility as well. Like the fact that they get absolutely nothing off of the Breach Ultimate, and then there's just these hits coming out from Nags. The man is clearly feeling on top of the world at the moment, using that Blade Storm to massive advantage, and the only damage that even came in is in a 1 versus 5. Like at that stage, it doesn't even matter.
The getting loud, huh? I'm here loving it. Well, we're going to have a timeout called by Zeta, and, well, it's not too much of a surprise, a tactical, as they have had a couple of upsetting rounds at this point. Obviously, getting taken down when the bonus round came out of Crew, and then following up with this round here, which absolutely should not have went Crew's way. They need to go back to the drawing board now before it gets too late.
That is the most well-dressed man in the building.
Most definitely.
Right in front of it. I want to know who his tailor is. I want to find out what strats they're coming up with as well. But the tailor's the most important thing.
You seen Takeje's hair? It's on point.
I'm jealous of anyone's hair though, so I don't really know if that's much of a
that's a fair
much of a takeaway. Like
I'll
take it. I'll take Sue's hair at this point. Give me the little like the balls on top. Like that'd be perfect for me.
I'll just let that one sit for a moment. Well, we're jumping right back into the game by the looks of things. The timeout comes to an end. Zeta have gone back to the drawing board and hopefully figured out exactly what they want to do this time around. We are at 5-1 though. Crew really just dominating in these early stages.
Yeah, and more worryingly as well, like the round that was won by Zeta was incredibly close fashion and could have easily gone the other way. Again, we're going to see the early Sky Flash coming through. Rayta getting a little bit stuck, but he's popped his own Blade Storm. It's already gone. That was the only thing really that they had in this round, and the rest of the players weren't following in. They were just waiting back for him to basically do everything on his own, and it just seems so disjointed from Zeta.
Especially when you've got pistols, that's where it doesn't really make sense to make these kind of plays. 6-1 on the board, and this is starting to look incredibly dominant, but the buy round out of Zeta, this is what they would have been discussing. The previous round, I mean, if you look at what they did, pop a Blade Storm, run into A, there wasn't a whole bunch of thought needed for that one. This isn't what the timeout was for. It's the buy round, and it's the operator in the hands of Rayta that I look to make a big difference, because we've already seen the impact that Nagsat has been able to find in holding down B main when he had an op in play. Now let's see what it can do for the attackers.
Gonna see the early Leer thrown through. Now, something from Takeje that I've witnessed quite a bit, at least when he played against the other Japanese sides, was he was super quick to get into the sites. They went for a lot of fast B takes. They were taking a lot of map control. I don't know if that was just confident against specific opponents, but for now it has been a little bit more slow. They've come in, I would say, lukewarm to this matchup, and I'm getting a little bit worried, because from what I've seen in the past from Zeta, it almost looks like they went and had a look at how Gambit played yesterday and have just tried to imitate it. Yeah,
I can kind of see that, actually. Suppose they wouldn't have looked at what Crazy Raccoon were doing.
Probably not.
No.
I'd hope not. I don't know. Like that one round, though.
I'll say this. I much prefer the comp they're running. That's for damn sure. There's a whole lot of possibility and potential for it there. Just a shame that, I mean, again, it really kicking the delegates, the fact that they had invested into the Rolling Thunder versus that eco. Now, Rayta's found the opening. We talked about the B main control that Nagsat had found before, and he's taken down, but Klaus doing the heavy lifting on the side. He keeps on going, and the spray is good to connect on Laz. Even though they've given up the site, they have definitely not given up the round. Crew hitting 7-1. What is this? What an incredible start from Latam.
I don't even know if they're needing to use that much strategy in some of these rounds. Like, we've seen these cool little pot flashes, information plays, like some pushes with timing. This round, this was just Klaus. Like, this was just him running. Look at where the rest of the team are. They're not even in the site. He's just gone, you know what, lads? Get him a backpack. This one's on me.
And you know what? I have to give credit where credit is due. I've heard a lot of talk, a lot of love for Klaus coming out of High Park. Yeah. This guy absolutely adores Klaus, and now I see why. Look, 7-1. Pistols for Zeta. Doesn't get much better moving into this round, at least you would imagine. Now, last time that we saw Sheriffs in the hands of Laz, dude put up 4 kills and almost got the ace. If we can have a little bit more this time around, you could have a second on the board, and there it is, already starting out with a wallbang headshot on the Mazzino. I don't think this guy should buy a rifle anymore.
Oh, pot flash through. They don't actually move off of it. Rayta is going to go in for the peak. Trades coming through. It's not awful, but the spike being dropped is a little bit more of a problem. Delzik still has to be careful, though. If he gets caught out being aggressive, it could be a weapon in the other player's hands, but never mind. He's going to take the peak versus his doppelganger and give them the advantage back.
There's a lot of things that I have questions about here, and it seems to be on a basis of synergy. I mean, Zeta coming in with the flash there, but no one follows up on it. They wait, and then eventually they peek dry afterwards. I mean, maybe they were trying to scare him away. I don't know, but it seems like the The synergy's a little bit off over on their side, and you can see that these kills are just constantly swinging the way of Crew. Again, it is just sheriffs in the hands of Zeta, but at the point where you go 8-1 down, you don't really have those kind of excuses of ecos and so on. None of these rounds have looked remotely close, bar 2 so far.
I'm thinking back to the round with Klaus. Like the fact that you had that split, but the players in B main get smoked off and they don't push through. Like his position, there's no way he gets 3 kills from there if the players in main actually push behind him. But it just seemed like maybe the communication's a little bit off. Maybe it's just not really going through in the right direction, but they just look a bit lost. And it's sad to see, because we saw that from Crazy Raccoon yesterday, but we gave them almost the benefit of the doubt that they're up against Gambit, a team that we expect to be like top 4 in the tournament as like an expectation, a realistic one. Now, for Crew, we aren't too sure just yet, but at the moment, well, they're absolutely dumpstering Zeta.
Well, this is a full buy from Zeta, and a round that they so desperately need if they're going to have a chance here in map number 1. They are upping the pace as well, moving in towards the B side, but Nagsid, having been ever impactful with this operator towards B main, will now be using it on the side itself. And the lockdown that's come into effect buys him time to reposition. He's actually going to move back towards main and prime up for a kill as he comes around the corner. There's the shot to Laz, the most impactful player for Zeta arguably so far, now out of the round. Only one though, only one dealt with on that short push initially. Hunter's Fury comes in to help out. Delzik is picking them up on site, and yet again, it feels like Zeta do a little bit of legwork and then run straight into a brick wall.
That was wonderful. That they had everything set up, and now only Crow stands in their way. A 1 versus 4 turn 3. It would have to be one hell of a clutch. And as you said, they desperately need a round like this. 30 seconds for him to try and play with, as he's going to go rotating straight into Delzik. They've got the bait of the turret and the peek from the Astra. And at 9-1, well, it seems like Crew it can't really do anything wrong. The re-aggression, as you mentioned, was brilliant, but then even just having the grab well setups and just like catching them in their rotation, it almost looked like they knew exactly what they were going to do.
Oh yeah, they were planned. They had planned that out perfectly. You can see it on the A side that they have the protocols in place if they come back. And they know that's a possibility. When you put down the lockdown, you're not expecting them to just run straight in afterwards. A lot of the time it will force the team to the other side of the map, and Crew were completely ready. At 9-1, there is very little to say about Zeta right now, and we are coming up to the last 2 rounds. If they don't get both of these on the board, I mean, they can kiss goodbye to this map more or less, unless Crew have an incredibly tough time, which, based on the way things are going so far, I doubt that's going to be the case.
Oh, I would say that Kesnet and Nags individually should be able to get them a couple of rounds. Like, I've seen Kesnet on the attack multiple times through different maps, just pull off ridiculous individual plays, and if you're leaving him to get just 2 rounds, I think you'll be all right. And well, that's if they even just need one player to pop off. Nags, again, prime position.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough enough one for the attackers as they push on in, because Delzik's in position and ready to take them down. In fact, the whole team's contributing on this one. The pistols getting a little bit done, but as we said, economy just doesn't matter at this stage. It's all or nothing, and for Zeta, it is nothing. Double digits hit within the first 11 rounds. Crew doing their best impression of Gambit, and they're making a damn good shot of it.
Well, they're having a good time.
Well, I know what that means. I'll tell you, I'm not sure if that... I hope that didn't come through on stream. Crew fired up, let's say.
Yeah. There's a fair few ultimates left on the other side as well.
Get that Odin out, Klaus.
It's possible that maybe they can try and get something done here. Takaje, this was one of the things. Like, he's one of those players I said that I expect him to be running around taking fights. We've not seen it this game. I can't think of one moment that he's achieved anything, which is a worry. You're going in for this double duelist. You need them to perform. They're going to try this once again with the dash through. He's been stunned by his own teammates' ability. They've been able to escape out of it. This is going catastrophically wrong for Zeta, and while Kesnet is just battering them.
Please excuse me. Oh, right, okay, Laz recovers and he's got 3. What an incredible whiff to start. I gotta say, Laz is hitting some good shots, but it's not enough. It really is. Not 11-1. I'm gonna have to just take a minute, wipe a tear out of my eye, because this is beautiful. considering the form that Crew were on last time around, when we saw them at an international event, they did not look good. And right now, they are playing some clean Valorant. You see the protocols there. You see that they are ready for every single possibility. They're looking at the multiverse, and they're reading every step of the play that Zeta are trying to make.
Well, I believe, Mitch, that we actually have Bala standing by, and I imagine this is going to be around maybe for Crew? I would just assume Bala?
It's a good guess, actually, yeah. Let's go and find out.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty good guess, I'd say, considering what we just saw. I'm really happy with that last round because basically we're going to watch the same round just a little earlier. So let's go ahead and move over towards the map where we have essentially the same setup. Go ahead and roll the clip just a little bit because you can see all the players from Zeta Division are focused up in this area. Pause it right now because I want you to notice that flash that just came in over here from the sky, helping the Astra get a little bit of control in A main. He's got 2 stars inside of A main, one set up for a one-way smoke and one set up to eventually pressure off a gravity well if they do decide to take it. The other thing I want you to look at is this Killjoy down at the bottom of middle. She's going to be trying to take information up towards the top. Make sure that they're not pushing up the catwalk and not getting really, really close to Nags, who's over in the catwalk position himself. They've noticed early on that they're really not hitting this B side at all. They're really not pressuring it, so you don't even have much here. You have a Killjoy turret and a Nano Swarm, and that's it. The entire time, they're just like, yeah, let's just try to get information and start to read them as they move through this game. So yeah, we can start rolling a little bit because the positions here, watch as Killjoy pushes through the smoke with no danger whatsoever. A lot of information right there on Taka J, and of course the player up on top as well. And pause it right here because this, I think, is where they start to really read it out. We just saw that Killjoy peek bottom mid. He saw some information top. That actually does bring over the Sova from Crew into that B site. But after that, they start to rotate Nags over. They start to rotate Killjoy over. There's the alarm bot if they need to worry about it. And they start to get the Q from Zeta Division. Go ahead and roll it right here. You'll have the Breach Aftershock deep into Wine, and that is audible, of course, up on the mini-map from up here, and they know, pause it right here, they know that this Rolling Thunder is coming, so they don't have anybody very, very close up on the site. They don't have anybody in Gen who can get dashed on, and also we have, of course, Delzik. If we zoom in on the map really quickly, he had set up a star right here so that he can go ahead and pop a gravity well as soon as this happens, and watch what happens to the mini-map as that Rolling Thunder comes in. Go ahead and play it one more time, pause it again. There is nobody else in this site, and that gives so much time for these rotations to come in. They can start to swing on a Sky Flash as well, and the collapse is massive for all of the Crew players. We could finish it out from here on out in the POVs because it is, well, we'll watch one more time the way that the Rolling Thunder comes in all the way across the site, but he's under here. He's safe, especially with that gravity well that went off, and it's just clean. It's just clinical from here. Everybody's trying to kind of figure out where it's going, but this swing with 4 players is impossible to do much when you don't have a follow-up out of A main. You don't have flashes coming through. The site is pretty much theirs, right? As soon as you start to swing, the site is pretty much theirs. And when we saw that last round, we could start to figure out the fact that, yeah, every single time there was a Breach Rolling Thunder available for the side of Zeta Division, it was really, really hard for them to find the space to use it. Crew was reading them, and that's why you see the score is only 1 round for Zeta Division.
Well, we've had a 3-minute breakdown and maybe 2 minutes left to play this game. Depends how things go, really. A lot of it's going to come down to the pistol round. Like we heard from Ball, 1 round for Zeta Division so far. And you know what, Tom? We were asked a little while ago, who do we think was going to be the biggest surprise team of the tournament? And we both said Zeta. And I have to say, so far, we're not wrong. I am surprised.
Yeah, I think so far both Japanese teams have surprised me, and in not the way I wanted it. No. It's been a little bit sad. I will say, I think, was it Kukuka who said Crew? They are surprising me as well, though. Like, they are looking unbelievable. Like, the synergy between the team, the players, it's been impressive. They've had so many neat little setups that may have gone amiss because a lot of the time it just looks like, oh, this guy's just boomed players like throughout the round. But in reality, they've had a cool defensive setup, and now I'm looking forward to their attack.
I would love to look at the difference between Crew, like a direct VOD to VOD comparison of Crew now versus what we saw them before, you can see the amount of work these guys have put in. And it's not just down to new metas and all that sort of stuff. They just look like a far better synergized team. Now we're having Zeta desperately trying to hold on to control. They have their whole team here. This could be a second round on the board for the Japanese side. And in fact, it looks like it could be. Takage has been silent all map long, but he steps up here for a big 3K. This could be a lifeline for the now defensive side, unless Klaus pulls something incredible out of his back pocket.
Yeah, let's give it a second. Klaus is still standing, but thankfully, Rata is there to close things out. Now, I don't have much faith in this map. I know that might be a gobsmacking statement to come out with, but...
Seeing the comeback?
No, I'm not seeing the comeback. But I do think it's really important for Zeta to get a few more rounds. Like, at least get the feel for things, because by the looks of it, as said, like, from what I saw for them playing versus Japanese teams to them playing today, it's not even close. Like, it just looks like they're playing without the same confidence we saw from them.
And you know what? We just saw it there. They went around, and I saw smiles. I saw the air, the COVID-safe fist bumps going out. That's exactly what we want. You know, if you're Zeta right now, you can't just sit back and go, yeah, it's a round, but, you know, we're going to lose. You have to fight for every single one. Now, we're going to see a lot of aggression out of Crew in the start of this towards A, but it's all a bait to try and get Mizzino a kill on that lurk. He is waiting outside B main for somebody to walk through, and Laz is about to give him the opportunity. I saw him edge forward, but he tames himself, takes the headshot nice and clean. And now, well, the Crew aren't really sure where they want to go. It looked like they were going to blitz into A off the back of it, but they've shifted focus. They're coming towards B main.
Maybe realizing that Laz only has a pistol, potential to overwhelm him, but Crow's spot, I don't think they're going to be expecting anybody to be here, and, well, landing absolutely everything. A couple of confidence rounds, flawless, looking incredibly likely. And, well, you know, 11-3, not a bad spot for them, at least in this second half.
Yeah, they needed that Prime Gaming Flawless right there, or else we could have been in a little bit of hot water. For Zeta, 11-3, cash built up, and their spirits are still high. They're going to fight for this comeback, and no matter how unlikely it looks, in these sort of situations, no matter what team you talk to, they'll always tell you, you got to just play every single round. You don't think about the fact that they're 2 away from winning. That does not matter to you. You focus here, you focus now, and if nothing else, it'll give you that momentum coming into the next map if you start to make that comeback happen.
Yeah, and as said, that's what I think is the most important thing at this point. Getting yourself feeling a little bit more confident on the stage. Now, they come into this one normally considered a bonus round, but they actually have themselves a couple of rifles here. Laz not investing into anything, and the last can afford to buy up. So they still have the possibility for a couple of heroes to try and step up and maybe, again, get them a little bit further into this map.
As if Raid is actually playing outside B main with a judge. Absolutely ratty play style. He has a ghost to play with as well, I think, so he can still take range if he needs to, or retake into sights. Pushing up to B main, though, now a little bit of trouble starts to brew for Mizzino, who gets taken down all too quickly. Takage in with another, and this buy round has not started out well for Crew on the attack.
Oh, Rata, though, maybe overextending a little bit. You're in a spot, a 5-on-3. You don't need to give anything back at those sort of points. He'd even retrieved himself one of the rifles. And we're going to see the fault line tagging up Nags. But again, the re-aggression is starting to cause problems. And he almost looked like he was going to correct that. Thankfully, Zeta will close out the round. And again, this is a little bit more of the style I expected of them. Pushing B main, pushing mid, taking battles. They've said that in pretty much every single, but Laz was like, yeah, you know, Takage, he likes to battle. Oh, you know, like pretty much naming every member of his team, just like, oh, Rata, he likes to battle. It's like, you could just say everyone, bud, it's fine.
We like to battle, and they certainly do. And it's good to see Zeta really get back on the horse here now, pushing up to 4 rounds. That was Crew's buy round. That was a bonus-ish out of Zeta, and they managed to win it. Exactly what they need, back on track to make this a competitive map. Off shot not going to land for Rata right off the bat, though. Crew really up in the pace here. Shock Dart kill comes into play. Seeker's deployed, interestingly enough. They know now there's 2 players on the site, but the ranged advantage sits heavily in Zeta's favor, and they are just taking every single duel as far away as they can. Frenzies aren't really dangerous if you don't let them up close, and with a nice 4K from Laz, Hunter's Fury is now online for the next round.
Yeah, his aim just looks unbelievable. Like, it almost reminds me of like when Scream's just going for those tap headshots. Like, Laz is looking on point. It's a shame that we've seen a couple of quieter performances, but Zeta slowly building themselves into this one a little bit. They've still got an incredibly long way to go before we can call this map competitive, but I'm at least liking the rounds that we're seeing. I'm also quite surprised that Kesnet actually pops his Seekers in that round, because it's one of those situations where you're already into the B site, that you going, there B. It's a little bit null and void when you're already there.
What are you gonna do if there's 3 guys there? I guess maybe that was the option. That if they
run
stack
back out
B,
again,
you go mid to A or something like that. Try to catch the rotate.
he was on B.
Yeah, they were really rolling the dice on that one. It was surprising. Looking at the start of this round, we mentioned in the previous that Laz's aim is absolutely insane. So thank you, Tom Forecaster, cursing him. The Hunter's Fury is going to be removed right away, as well as the top fragger for Zeta. This is going to now require somebody else to step it up. Another hero of the round. And so far, when we look at this team, Takage is the one that we expect to deliver those performances.
Yeah, he's even popped his Empress into this one, so has the ability to get himself out of dodge. It's going to run out before he fights anyone there.
Problematic for sure. The recon coming through, going to be a little reveal. They already know that he's there, but they've spotted Takage too, and they've taken him down quite quickly. Oh no, this lurk from Dalzik. They're not even checking it. They're not even looking. Oh man. When 5 players are still alive, crossing mid, haven't given up the control with, that's a big mistake. A big mistake indeed. Now one that they've just paid a big price for, with Crew now on map and map point, not series.
Yeah, it's not series yet. We've got another
don't
one.
curse it.
Yeah, it's also just the manner in which they just won that. A Prime Gaming flawless to basically put them in the dirt. Now there should still be enough finances to at least put up a buy into this round, but yeah,
now, weapons or not hasn't mattered. I think the direction of the wind has had more sway over how these rounds have gone. When it comes down to Crew, they're just looking clean, man. And like you said, okay, you could see the pistol go their way. Like, if you ended up with Zeta on 3 or something like that, maybe it gets kind of close. But the reality was, you're looking at Crew, you're looking at the way they're playing and saying, yeah, these guys can definitely pull out a couple of rounds. Nagzit, Kesnet, these guys are on fire at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's been a team performance as well. Like, I don't think they've needed to be particularly, like, carried through this. Now, we're going to get a timeout. Now, if this timeout turns out to be the biggest brain play of all time, they managed to win themselves a big streak of rounds, maybe we'll sat there singing their praises. But I will say, it might be a little bit late.
It could be. It could be. And I really have to feel for the Japanese side here. Obviously, their countrymen came out yesterday and didn't have a great time against Gambit, one of the best teams that we currently have at this event.
Yep.
But in this matchup, this is where I expected 3 maps, scrappy gameplay between these 2 teams, and what has been delivered so far has been utter domination for Crew. Now, the way that they're playing certainly looks clean, it looks polished, but that's not an acceptable loss for Zeta in this dominant fashion. Certainly not in this series. Map 2 cannot go the same way.
Well, I think the other thing as well is, like, if we're looking at some hope for Japan, it's this group. Like, I don't know if we'll ever get a group like this again, where we look at it and go, oh, there's envy, but other than that, you're not seeing one of the teams that we expect to be in, like, a top 4 spot or even a top 6 maybe. So it's going to be interesting. Laz, a very early pop. This is something he does quite regularly. And Takage, these are the plays again, being a little bit more aggressive into mid. Him and Laz tag teaming to find themselves a double opener. But there's still a few players on the board for Crew.
Yeah, I really like that play from Zeta. The Hunter's Fury pop early, I could take it or leave it, but the fact that you have Takage take the kill, dismiss out, and then set up with Laz, so they have that beautiful double peek when that player comes around the corner. Absolutely gorgeous to look at. And as we come into the late stages of the round, Crew are walking into a stack. There's 3 players here for Zeta. They are ready to take this fight. But it's Nagzit, the first around the corner. What a clean flick to start it off. He's going down to the classic here. His teammate falling with a wallbang headshot. Makaba just about keeping this competitive with low HP on the other 2 Crew players. It should be a nice, easy retake for the Japanese side.
Wow! Okay!
That it certainly was!
Oh, he's so good. I love watching Laz. Like, genuinely, it's so enjoyable. Be it the aim we've seen from him so far, or just getting both players with the shock dart to close out the round. A triple for him, still putting up some pretty solid numbers considering the scoreline. And Zeta, they're going to grant themselves a 6th.
Yeah, nice and easy retake. I said I don't think the spike was down all of 0.1 of a second, and the round was already done. That was beautiful. But 6 more rounds needed in a row, consecutively. No room for error, no room for mistakes. Now, this round started out with Takage going for the early mid-peak, and yes, he managed to find it. But if he met the operator there, for example, oh, unfortunate. If he met the operator, that could have been a very, very different story. We're going to need to see some more from Zeta before I start to believe. And coming into this round, it is weapons in the hands of Crew right away, and a very fast mid-take. They are blitzing up here with the drone, not looking to give Zeta a moment to breathe.
Yeah, this is so much control, but there is counter utility coming through to at least try to slow them a little bit. 3 players available on that B side as well, so even the faster take might not go too well. But yeah, they're splitting away from this, and Makiba's going to be the only point of contact.
They've cleared the side out at this point, or they're just about to. Mazzino dying on the cross. It's not going to be the biggest loss, but that could have been the lockdown for the late stage. And almost a guaranteed round on the back of it. Rolling Thunder, ready to roll with Crow. Popping that and knocking at least 2 of these players off. They're stunned, and here comes the dash on the side. Nagzit not able to get anything done. In fact, it's a shorty to take him down, and very, very clean indeed from Zeta. They get in there with all 5 players still alive as the defuse comes through.
Yeah, beautiful retake. Ultimate committed. That's what we expect to see a little bit more from the Rolling Thunder. Not hitting any of his teammates. Like,
not hitting his teammates. People actually rush on the back of it.
Exactly.
I mean, let's be very honest. That first half, that was not Zeta. That was not the team that I was expecting to see when it came through today. Because I've been talking even yesterday about them and saying, hey, I love this team. I think this is one that can definitely challenge some of the better teams in this tournament. And after the first half, I was thinking, wow, did they send different players? What's happening? But now it looks like they're finding their form here on the international stage.
Well, yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you have them coming out of this group. I'm guessing a second, although you do like to meme a little bit, but...
The way Envy played, hey, it could be tough.
Let's see, though. Long way to go. Oh, it's a bit of a whiff from Raider. He's going to actually get tagged up by the drone, and they're going to pop the Hunter's Fury after this. They're going to try and clear him out, and they will do just that.
Oh, that didn't tag anyone. It looked like it was going to get 3 for me, but they've just about managed to avoid the Hunter's Fury afterwards. Crew have got so much to play with here, and it's a lockdown that starts it off. The shock darts had already come in, so even though they can tickle it up with the second one, they can't really destroy it. And obviously, the Hunter's Fury getting used up a couple of rounds ago means that it isn't there either. So it's a time delay. Crew are able to run that clock all the way down. The Blade Storm here for Nagzit, an effective shotgun at this close range angle, but he kind of needs to make a move. Now that these players are looking to come out, Mazzino is dead. Oh my god, they're getting it done so quickly! It goes down to 1 player, and Klaus is dealt with as well. What are these retakes out of Zeta? You barely get a moment to breathe. They start the push, and they end it within a matter of seconds.
Oh, that was really nice. I do love the way that Crow is using all of his breach utility, like stunning them up first with the fault line, aftershock making that they can't escape, and if they do, they have to push into players. Small caveat, there were no weapons for Crew. So that's the only thing I will say. Like, you're going into battles with massive advantages here, and the only thing that was really there was the Blade Storm, and he got a little bit unlucky that I think only 2 of the knives landed instead of 3. But they're getting there. And this is starting to look good. 4 rounds the difference. They've only lost 1 round on their defensive side.
They've gotten rid of the lockdown. They've gotten rid of the Blade Storm.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a
None of the ults are even close on Crew.
Absolutely. That was an incredibly successful round coming out of Zeta. This puts them back on the map. I mean, Tom, they're at 12-8, and the probability of them pushing to an OT, especially with the way those retakes are looking, and I'm not just talking about the last round, but the one before, where there were weapons for Crew. Things are looking spectacular for the Japanese side that... I mean, I made the joke at the halftime that, hey, we might only have 2 minutes left in this game. Well, that's certainly far from the truth.
Yeah, I hope Parler's got another round ready. It's a completely different match at this point. Now we're starting to look at Crew and wondering if they can bring anything back from this. The spam, they'll do a little bit, but not really catch anything from it. Again, though, it's going to be this after-plant scenario. They've taken the site without many problems at all, but by the looks of it, Zeta are okay with that.
Not going to be a connection for Mazzino there. He's had a really tough time when it comes to these mid-fights. I wouldn't be surprised if he just backs off. In fact, goes straight out, takes down Takage. Crew just need the one round, and this could be it. The spike planted, and the man advantage is theirs. As the timer ticks away, Zeta are waiting out the utility, trying to use Rada to gain them a little bit of space to push into the site. The flash actually catches him, but he's able to drop down still. Dalzik eliminates him. Crow dealt with another falling Makiba, and Laz doesn't last long. 13-8. A little bit more of an escapade than it looked like it would be after half number one, but Crew have closed it out here on Ascent.